calling this meeting to order. Councilmember Cox is absent and excused. And we are going to start off today with, like we used to do back in the day, the Pledge of Allegiance. Mayor Pro Tem Stewart, can you lead us?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we have an invocation today, clerk? So we do not have anyone here? Okay. Councilmember Branch, could you lead us in prayer?
Let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for this day, Lord, and we ask that you reach into us and touch us and make sure our work and our service makes you proud of us, Lord. But also, Lord, be with this world in this time of injustices, Lord, in this time of war. We just ask that you intervene and bring peace to our lives, peace to our homes. And in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, we are going to start with the consent agenda. If somebody would like to make a motion to approve.
Sorry, move for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to still be looking for the visual cues here, so you raise your hand too. That actually makes it easier on the clerk as well, because she can see who has voted. So if we can get a hand raised. That was unanimous, clerk. Thank you. Next, we have the report and recommendation of the Planning Commission. Mr. Bowers, nice to see you in person.
Good afternoon. Ken Bowers with Planning and Development. Have the report of the Planning Commission, joined by Planning Commission Chair Roberta Fox. So we'll get right into it. This is a review of what's currently calendared for your public hearing. So 5 items for the mid-month hearing on March 15th and 4 items currently calendared for April 5th. We're going to add a couple to that list today. So there is 2 items reported out, recommended for the April 5th public hearing, and 1 item recommended for May 3rd, but we're going to have a little discussion about whether or not you want to examine that item before scheduling the public hearing. So first item is a text change to zoning conditions. This impacts a planned development district located on the property commonly known as Kids Hill, which is off of Crabtree Valley Avenue between Homewood Banks and Blue Ridge Road, and 13.4 acres of that PD corresponding to an undeveloped portion of it would be amended. This went through extensive review at the Planning Commission. Some transportation issues that arose were worked out to the satisfaction of staff in Raleigh Transportation and the Planning Commission. Subsequently recommended approval unanimously, and we're recommending the April 5th public hearing.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
The applicant has asked if we could move this to March 15th. There's been no controversy. Is there any issue with that?
The only issue is the short period of time to do mailed notice, which this requires.
Okay, so we won't be able to make that in time with the post office the way it is these days.
There is what we have found is that with 2 weeks of notice, that there's a distinct possibility that people will be receiving their mail very shortly before the hearing, and we have both gotten complaints about it, and at least one matter had to be rescheduled as a result.
Okay, all right, then we will leave it for April 5th. Can we have a motion to schedule that public hearing?
So moved.
All in favor? Seconded by Councilmember Knight. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Unanimous, clerk.
Sure. Okay, the next item is at 1624 Glenwood Avenue. This is a portion of a property totaling under 1/4 of an acre that would be going from CX3 Urban General conditional use to CX3 conditional use without the frontage. because removal of frontage, there were some inconsistencies, but the Planning Commission found it reasonable in the public interest and has unanimously recommended approval. And again, an April 5th public hearing is recommended.
Councilmember Knight?
Thank you, Mr. Bowers. Just a question related to this rezoning case. Is the fire connectivity issue been worked out yet?
The fire
With the
connectivity
neighbors.
issue was
Yep.
deemed to not be relevant to the zoning case under the Planning Commission review. If you would like me to provide, as best as I can, a recitation of the facts on that as I understand them, I would be happy to do
You
so.
don't need
The
to.
applicant is
You
also...
don't need to. Just
Okay.
I would hope it gets worked out before it comes before us.
Okay. Thanks.
We'll discuss it at the hearing. And potentially bring it to committee
Okay.
if we can't have people working well together and playing nice, it's gonna last longer. So, that's all. All right,
Second.
all in favor? Okay, that was unanimous, clerk.
And the last item is text change TC 1221. This is the text change to permit accessory commercial units. So it amends the UDO to create this new category of use, the ACU. It makes some changes. There's current provisions in the ordinance for home businesses and live work, so it changes those. It has standards for that, and it also creates a new use definition called food retail. This was a split vote from the Planning Commission, 4-3 to recommend approval. Those opposed are concerned about the city's lack of authority to regulate the sale of alcohol and tobacco products, as well as whether or not the ordinance would be effective in meeting its goal to provide better access to healthy foods. I want to highlight on this slide that the ordinance, as it went to Planning Commission, has been substantially altered as part of the Planning Commission review. So this is just a list of all those things that they have done and or recommended as part of the ordinance. So given the substantial changes that have happened to the ordinance, it may be useful to review this in committee before, in case you want to make further modifications before scheduling the public hearing.
Mayor.
Member Melton?
Yeah, I would like to send this back to the Economic Development Innovation Committee so we can sort of understand some of the reasoning behind the changes, work through some of it, and then get it back to council and figure out what we want to schedule for public hearing. So I think we can, I moved to send it back to EDI, and I think we can probably get it back by like April, May.
Seconded by Councilmember Knight. All in favor? Aye. Okay, that will be sent to committee.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
That concludes the Planning Commission report.
Thank you. All right, next we have special items. That is the appropriation from council contingency for the United Arts Council. You may recall that they had requested a $10,000 grant for their big night, the arts. So that was brought up 2 weeks ago. Councilmember Buffkin, would you like to make a motion?
Madam Mayor, before the motion, I have a standing recusal because my wife's
That's
on
right.
this board.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to authorize the appropriation and for staff to disperse the funding to the United Arts Council.
Okay, do we have a second? Mayor Pro Tem Stewart, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passes unanimously. Councilmember Branch has been excused. Next, we have the report and recommendation of the city manager.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Wow, we're moving swiftly today, right? So
You took it easy on us
I
today.
absolutely did. That goal of meeting efficiency is being obtained today. So I only have one item. Ben Brown from Engineering Services is here to give us an update on our FEMA floodplain map.
Good afternoon. Thank you. I believe, has the presentation gone through? I just didn't see it on the screens. You may recall last spring TC 16-2020 was passed, which was a floodplain text change. And part of that was making the effective date to correspond with the new FEMA maps. So the status of those maps is we got a letter of final determination from FEMA on January 19th, 2022, which exciting news means we'll have till July 19th, 2022 to adopt those maps, which is very exciting. We've been waiting on these maps for years, so to have a solid date is great news. The only slice of inconvenient news is we need to adjust the effective date of TC 1620 that was set for April 1st, thinking that was fairly conservative, to coincide with the anticipated effective date of these new maps. So due to the FEMA schedule change, TC 1620 should be changed, the effective date should be changed to July 19th, 2022. And so what I would ask for from the council today is authorize a change to the effective date of TC 1620 to that July 19th date, and then also authorize staff to proceed with a clerical text change to correct references to that exact date within the body of TC 1620. And basically, there are 8 spots, I think, in that text change that reference the April 1st date. So we would have to change it, but the big thing is to get the effective date changed today so we can kind of plan on that and move forward.
Okay, any questions of staff? Who would like to make a motion? Mayor Pro Tem Stewart?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please raise your
Aye.
hands. Aye. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Passes unanimously, clerk. All right, next we have the report and recommendation of, that was the shortest city manager's report we've ever had.
I'll get you back next time.
No.
Oh, yeah, okay, thanks. Next, we have the report and recommendation of the Economic Development and Innovation Committee.
We don't have any items to report out, but I need to report that the committee has authorized staff to begin working on the specific regulatory aspects of social districts and to collaborate with the Downtown Raleigh Alliance on creating a social district task force. This item remains in committee for further discussion. So we've got this item pending, social districts, and we have the ACU item back. Our next meeting will be March 22nd, 1:30. Are we still doing committee meetings virtual this month?
This month is virtual.
Virtual.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, thank you. Next, we have the report and recommendation of the Growth and Natural Resources Committee.
So as members of the City Council will recall, the Planning and Development Department previously proposed a new continuous improvement practice for our UDO. Each year, the UDO will be evaluated for slight modifications that will address discrepancies, areas of necessary clarification, and other cleanup that has a minimal policy impact. On December 7th of last year, the City Council referred 34 such items to the Growth and Natural Resources Committee for additional review. Over 2 meetings, we reviewed all of the proposed changes, including in-depth review of 11 of those proposals. As a result of our review, you will see our recommendation in the backup that the City Council authorization of the omnibus text change, excluding items 6, 14, 29, and 31, and clarifying support to advance option 2 for item 9, requesting that staff further clarify language to be clear that the change in reference to section 9.1.9.8.6 for item 15 is for the purpose of planting standards only.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? You'd like to make a motion?
That is my motion, so moved.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Knight. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Clerk, that was unanimous?
And that leaves no items in GNR.
We'll fix that. Okay. Next, we have the report and recommendation of the Safe, Vibrant, and Healthy Community Committee. We met with staff and also Kim Crawford from the Partnership to End and Prevent Homelessness. We got an update on our hotel that we have purchased on New Bern Avenue, and we also got an update on White Flag. As a result, we're requesting that staff ask members of the county to come and discuss strategies for ending homelessness with us, specifically looking at shelter capacity and how we transition people to permanent support housing. So we will keep you posted as that moves along. Thank you. And then transportation and transit.
So we do have one item that is pending. So we will be meeting virtually on March 23rd, the fourth Thursday at our normally scheduled time.
Okay,
And that is all.
thank you.
I'm sorry, 24th, not the 23rd, 24th.
Yeah, we will have an announcement about the meeting with the county. A lot of it, the time of that will depend on who can attend when. So we'll do that at our next meeting. All right, next is the report from Mayor and City Council. Mayor Pro Tem Stewart, I'm going to ask you to start.
No report.
My report is I want to wish congratulations to the Carolinian. They celebrated 81 years of publication over the weekend. Had opportunity to participate in their celebration and deliver a proclamation on behalf of the city. So congratulations to the founder and the family and all the staff at the Carolinian.
And thank you for delivering that proclamation. Councilmember Branch.
Just two items. The first one is I made this request at the Dick's leadership meeting, asking her, the council, for a work session on Dick's Park to bring the rest of council up to speed and also share where we are. So I'll let staff work on scheduling that work session. The second thing has been brought to my attention that the Quality Inn on New Bern Avenue has had a number of calls and complaints in the past months. So I asked that our staff and our city attorney will look into the Quality Inn on New Bern Avenue and all departments that are needed to address this matter. And that is all. Happy March 1st.
Councilmember Melton.
No report.
Councilmember Buffkin.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of council, I was able to join our Parks Board and BPAC members at a Greenway cleanup this weekend along the Crabtree Creek near Anderson Park. And I was astounded at the amount of trash we found behind the Sunoco recycling facility. And I think there's an opportunity here to prevent this before it becomes a problem again. So I'd ask the staff to reach out to the Sunoco company and have some conversations, report back to the council on some potential options that the company might be willing to put in place to prevent this kind of thing from happening. Other than that, it was a beautiful day. It was a little chilly. We had a great turnout. We did a lot of good work to clean up our greenways, and appreciate all the work that the members of those two bodies do. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Knight.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to say it's good to see all y'all smiling faces here today and to be in person, even yours, Corey, especially yours. No, it's approximately been 2 years since the pandemic officially began in the United States, and most importantly, so much loss of life for us to reflect on and to think about, and also loss of relationships and time and so much else. And I think today is a milestone in our recovery, with the City Council now being back in person, with the indoor mask mandate coming off. And so I'm excited about our future and what's ahead. And I want to thank the residents of this city for being so strong, resilient, and compassionate towards their neighbors and family members and just other human beings. And specifically, I want to thank the city staff who were on the front lines in the response to the pandemic for the city and how they responded. And we're proud to be part of y'all's team and the city's team and the city council who was very resilient. And we got things done during the pandemic. And I'm excited for the future of the city and look forward to working with y'all back in person. Thank you.
With our smiling faces. Yes, thank you. So first, I would like to just start with a moment of silence to remember Ronnie Marshall. I don't know how many of you knew Ronnie, but he served on the Mayor's Commission for persons with disabilities. He was a fearless advocate, had no trouble speaking up for himself, which is one reason why he was beloved. And he had passed away. His service was on Saturday, and it was one of those moments where a lot of very diverse people in our community came together, but more importantly, really focused on what we can be doing to better assist those who are disabled and the voice that they should have in our community. So in honor of Ronnie, let's just take a moment, okay? Okay, thank you. Next, I would like to just run this by the team. We, during COVID, had cut off public hearing at 5 p.m. on Friday, in part to better manage the meetings. We still have COVID protocols in place, and I'm going to ask that while we were here with COVID protocols, that we ask people to sign up by 5 p.m. on Friday so we can determine the number of people. And that would allow staff to know whether we had to move people up to 305, how we organize, because right now you can see there's seats that you can't sit in. And if we get 50 people here for a hearing, we won't know that until it happens. So while we're on COVID protocol, I'm going to ask that we continue the public hearing cutoff at 5 p.m. just so staff can better manage the outcome. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, I was just going to point out that people at home maybe can't see that 2/3 of these seats are still blocked off. And so for so long as we have to be mindful of the number of people coming in and out, I'm fine with that. I definitely want to look at it again when the capacity limits are restricted.
Yep. Okay, so we will ask for public hearing, sign up. Cutoff is 5 p.m. on Friday until,
The public comment, do you want it at 5 p.m. on Friday or 1 hour before the meeting?
from a management standpoint, how does everybody feel about that?
It wasn't, it has been.
It has been 5 o'clock on Friday.
Well, 2 years ago, when Councilmember Buffkin and I worked with city attorney and city manager on the rules of decorum, all of those things, because you used to have to sign up 2 weeks in advance to talk to council.
Right.
When we went virtual, we said it was 5 o'clock Friday before. The regular rule is an hour before the meeting, unless you have like a presentation, they need that Friday before. I think my preference would keep it 1 hour before the meeting, but while we continue to have this issue with seats blocked off and needing to figure out how many people are coming in and out, I would be fine keeping the COVID stuff in place until things actually go back to normal here. But I do think it's important that it goes back to an hour before the meeting.
At the appropriate time, is what you're saying, when COVID protocols are lifted.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking
and-
out here and 2/3 of the room is still blocked off. And so I understand it will be tough that if we have a lot of people show up, staff's going to have to do an overflow room or figure out how to move people around. So I think for so long as we still have things blocked off and all that, then keep the COVID rules. I would be fine with that, but I don't want it to be a permanent change.
Is everybody okay with that?
That's fine.
Okay. Councilmember Fort? Can we have
You see my wheels turning.
a nod of the head or something?
Yeah, it's, I don't want to put anything cumbersome on the staff, but again, in the interest of, allowing the public to have the opportunity to come in and speak, I don't know how we facilitate, some type of workaround, but I agree with you. If the time frame used to be an hour before the meetings and we're back in person, then maybe we should ask the staff to take a look at it and maybe bring us something back at the next meeting.
Well, I would like to have it in place for the next meeting. So let's provide some guidance today. Councilmember Branch?
I'm thinking, how about, unless they have a presentation, Monday at 5? Because will that give staff enough time if it's Monday at 5 for Tuesday?
I'm looking at the city manager. Does that give you enough time?
Okay. So, yeah, I think just Monday at 5 and, and even made for public hearings as well,
Is
unless they have a presentation.
Yeah, let's do Friday at 5 if you have a presentation, because that's the regular rules that
Right.
we've had. And Monday at 5 for hearings and public comment otherwise, just because until these seats open up, it gives staff some flexibility by the next day to figure out how to move people in and out. I'm good with that.
You good with that, City Manager?
Yes, ma'am, we can make it work.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Clerk? Okay. All right, thank you. And then the third thing, I would like to thank the staff. We have asked that we light up our city in solidarity with the Ukraine, and they are working on that now with a plan to start Wednesday through the weekend. And I don't know if you've seen a lot of the stories on social media and the connections that people in this community have to the Ukraine. I think this will be really important to them. It shows us how connected we are. And even when something happens halfway across the world, it's still impacting people in our community, people and their loved ones. So I think that this is an important statement for us to make. And I just want to say thank you to the staff for making it happen and bringing together our private sector partners as well. Okay, next, we have appointments.
Mayor, I need to step out of the meeting, and I have submitted my written ballot, but with the exception of those votes that have already been submitted, could I be excused from voting for the remainder of the afternoon session? I'll be back this evening.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
Okay, excuse me, Appearance Commission, you have one vacancy for an alternate member, no nominations. Board of Adjustment, a vacancy for alternate member, no nominations. Historic and Immigrant Affairs Board, you have one vacancy for community and one vacancy for professional category, and there are no nominations for either.
I am working on both of those, just so everybody knows.
Human Relations Commission, one vacancy, no nominees. Parks, Recreation, and Greenway Advisory Board, you have one vacancy. Chris Pereira received 6 votes, so would be appointed, so we've got that one in place. Police Advisory Board, one alternate vacancy. Councilmember Branch nominated Lewis Hutchinson, so that'll be on the next ballot. Raleigh Historic Development Commission, 2 vacancies. Councilmember Buffkin submitted Wes Tripp. Mayor Baldwin submitted the name of Rob Allen, so they would be on the next agenda.
I'm just going to say, we had 2 women resign from that board, and I think it's a bad look to replace them with 2 men. So, just going to
Okay.
put
And
that
we
out there.
did send you information in your agenda packet on the makeup. Next item, excuse me, Stormwater Management Advisory Commission, 2 vacancies. Councilmember Knight nominated Barrett Jenkins and Luann Phillips, so those would both
Madam
be on
Clerk.
the next agenda.
Madam Clerk, Councilman Cox contacted me, Ian McMillan, he would like to nominate.
Didn't he just put that on his
He
nomination?
he sent me an email, I don't know why it wasn't on the ballot, but he contacted me, so I'm willing to just make the nomination.
He did submit a nomination with that name. However, since he is not at the meeting and would not be at the meeting when we considered nominations, it wouldn't work. So I think he was going to contact another council member and ask if they would nominate him for consideration.
Thus, I'm making the nomination.
Okay,
The next item, so you have 3 nominations for those 2 vacancies, and that will appear on the next agenda. The next item is Substance Use Advisory Commission.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt? So would that then be Corey's, is that your nomination officially, or is it David Cox's?
I assume it's Mr. Branch's
it's mine, but-
nomination. Substance Use Advisory Commission, 1 vacancy. Mayor Pro Tem Stewart nominated Deborah Deborah White. And so that is all of the appointments. The next item is nominations. The county appointee, we're still waiting for a recommendation from the county or a nomination from the county, and I keep putting this on the agenda to keep us from forgetting it and to remind you, if you have recommendations, to please submit them. The next item is Planning Commission. You have one vacancy as the term of Nicolette Bennett is expiring. She is eligible for reappointment, would like to be considered for reappointment.
Move to reappoint Nicole Bennett to Planning Commission.
Second.
Who do we have seconding that? Councilmember Fort? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Do you have a vote?
I'm not in favor, so.
Okay, so, yeah. Councilmember
you-
Knight, no, and the rest, yes.
I think you would need to vote, or you would vote in the affirmative.
He just voted no.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. So, Ms. Bennett would be reappointed. And that's all I have for that section.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have the report and recommendation of the city attorney.
I don't have a report today, Mayor.
Okay, report and recommendation of the city clerk.
This is going so fast.
Trying to write it down.
Okay, you received minutes of the several council meetings, regular session, budget work session, and regular work session for consideration of approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. That's unanimous, clerk. All right. Well, I think we just set a record. So, well, it's all up to you, city manager. So we will meet back here at 7 p.m. For I'm still in shock, for our meeting this evening. So thank you, everyone, for being here, and we'll see you at 7 p.m.